Today, I'm going to show you how to solve some glass reflection issues, and I'll show you some lighting hacks. And another blank storyboard. This was just like when the dad dropped her off at school. I'm emulating those two shots. So we had our wide shot already, and this is looking down the hood of the truck this time. You'll notice I have a note that it's same file as 23, shot 23. That's because it's all one animation, and whenever I have one animation going on for multiple shots, I just keep it in the same file, and I just make note of what frames I want to use for each of the shots and have multiple cameras in there. So it's just a quick description of them in the truck, and let's take a look at the shot. So before I play this, I'm going to talk about some stuff. You'll notice the fog in the background. Now it looks really foggy in this shot. So the other thing is I use Substance Painter to make this truck look old, which I really enjoy. If you remember, I talked about the door to the dorm room should have looked older and beat up. Why I didn't use Substance Painter to make that door look a little bit more beat up and like an old dorm room, I don't know. At the time, I was happy with it, I guess. Looking back, I'm not. But, give yourself some slack and move on and remember it for the next project. So here, another thing to look at is the lighting inside the truck. I will discuss that when we get in there, but let's run this and take a look. The animation for the boy, he moved his arm down in the previous shot to turn off the engine of the truck, and he will take his hand off the steering wheel here. She's looking out just like she did with the dad. And he leans over, kisses her. There's a lot of interaction of characters here, which is very keyframeable. Lots of individual keyframes to make all of this work. And then she pushes him away. Lots of individual keyframes on her hand in order to make it not look like it's going through his jacket there. And then she says the one word in the whole film. He gets angry and then lunges at her. And I also want to mention there is glass for the windshield. I had a lot of problems with that I had to figure out how glass works. This glass is curved, so it was giving me a lot of problems, and I will go into the solution of that once we get into the Blender file. Let's look at it one more time. All right, so once again, he leans in, some interaction there, the hair moves, lots of keyframing, so it doesn't look like they're going through each other. All right, let's take a look at the Blender file. So I want to start here with the glass. I used a glass BSDF for this, and prior to the mix shader, I was having lots of issues I did not understand. If I go into this mode, the viewport shading, I had the glass off when I was working, and then I would turn the glass on for the render. As you see over here, it's off for most of my work, and then in the render, it is on. So I was getting these weird effects during the render because I was working without the glass on in order to animate. Now I'm going to turn it back on, and then I'm going to show you the way I was seeing stuff in the render because I was working in this mode, but I should have taken a look at it this way. So in the render, they were way shifted up. It looks like his head and her head would be going through the ceiling of the truck. I was like, they're not sitting that high in the truck. I don't understand what's going on. If I turn the glass off, they would shift back down where I had them. And then when I turn the glass on, they would shift up, and I couldn't figure it out. So the glass is curved, and the glass is actually bending the light like glass might do in real life. So what I wound up doing was, because I wanted to have glass and have a little essence of it, I wound up using a mix shader, dropping it in here, and then putting it in the surface. You see my factor is 0.95. If I bring it down, you can see a lot of double reflection there. So at 0.95, I feel like I had a little essence of glass, but nothing that was distracting from the way you needed to be paying attention to the shot. All right, now let's get into the lighting. This is the fun thing about working in Blender. This is the light inside the truck in a place where you could never place a light in real life. It is literally right in front of them in the windshield. I tried it down below here. but it was a little more too uplighty. So I realized I can just have the light right in front of them and you won't see it in the render. It's a fantastic way to work. To took me a while to realize that. I was trying to do it more like you would do it in real life, where you would have a light down here illuminating them up and maybe a light up here coming down at them. But I realized I can just put it right in the center of my shot, and nobody will see it, and it'll light them perfectly. The wattage is very low. It's 1 watt. They can get blown out easily. So you can drop in lights wherever you need them. All right, so let's get into the keyframing of just one thing. We're going to do her hand. You'll see that it's right there on her lap. Then the next major keyframe. You'll see some weirdness here. If you don't see it, it doesn't bother me if it crosses over. So you can see her arm is actually going through his arm there, but you can't see it in our shot. Then we get into multiple keyframes here where she's brought it up, and there's a whole lot of keyframing here where it's almost 1 keyframe per frame in order to make it look like she's pushing him away, but her hand isn't going through his jacket or his chest. I probably tried to go from here to here without interim keyframes, and it just didn't work. So I had to add extra keyframes to really get it nuanced as to whether or not she was going to be pushing him off and then going through his chest. There's a lot of painstaking keyframes there. You'll note again, look how her shirt is all jacked up. We do not see it in the shot, so I don't worry about it. Looking back again, I would say her shoulder looks broken. I didn't catch that. And also, we know my animation skills are not top notch. You'll also see her other arm going through the back of the seat. You don't see it here, so I don't care. This is where I really got to the point where I was like, I can't actually animate this in a way that would be realistic for real humans to do. So if I didn't see it in the shot, again, I did not care. So it didn't matter that that arm was going through the back of the seat because we can't see it on our shot over here. So a lot of painstaking animation going on in this shot, but learn to figure out what you can get away with, stuff like this, and then don't worry about it and just animate what you see and don't worry about the rest. That is it for this shot. Tomorrow, we'll reuse the same scene setup, but add a new camera angle. I'll see you then.